for illustrative purposes. Her team of business strategists and cutting-edge digital and AI talent prototyped a promising new product that tested well. After working tirelessly for 3 months, Sarah's team proudly handed the product off to her colleagues in IT, marketing, and other departments that would be involved in the implementation phase. But those teams struggled. The product was built on an advanced technology stack that was incompatible with the business's legacy systems. It was designed to serve an unfamiliar customer segment. What's more, some company leaders worried that the innovation was too incremental to gain a foothold in a rapidly evolving market. The once promising initiative looked like it was about to be stopped in its tracks, despite the investment Sarah's team and the company had made in it. We've seen this kind of breakdown time and time again. That's because scaling innovation requires partners to collaborate in the face of diverging priorities, capabilities, and constraints. New product teams are incentivized to experiment. Compliance prioritizes adherence to regulatory requirements. IT speaks the language of operational reliability. Senior executives require a compelling business case. When collaborating externally, the gaps are even wider. For startups, time is money. They value speed. The corporations that partner with them prioritize reliability. They move at a more measured pace to mitigate risks. Indeed, when we ask executives what keeps them from offering new products and services, or from implementing new technologies to improve efficiency or revenue growth, they describe how painful it can be to work across organizational boundaries. At best, bringing multiple partners together results in splitting differences or making compromises, which can lead to mediocre results. At worst, persistent misalignment among partners leads to deep-seated conflict, hardened politics, slowed momentum, and the loss of credibility. Opportunities are lost and investments are wasted. To address these problems, leaders often over-rely on formal structure. They appoint dedicated project managers and cross-functional teams, or they establish innovation labs to orchestrate collaboration across boundaries. They invest significant time ironing out IP agreements and other governance contracts with outside collaborators. But innovation fundamentally requires all involved, not just the originators of the idea, to experiment and learn, activities that require risk-taking. People don't take risks with those they don't trust, and structural efforts fail to create the social connection required to build that trust. There is another way. Our study of firms that get innovation right finds that a particular type of leadership, what we call bridging, drives collaboration effectively across boundaries. We first offered a brief description of bridgers in What Makes a Great Leader, HBR.org, September 19, 2022, and we explore the role more fully in our book, Genius at Scale, released in March 2026. Bridgers have strong emotional and contextual intelligence, which enables them to build the trust, influence, and commitment across partners that are essential to move innovation forward. If Sarah, the composite character we introduced, were to start acting like a bridger, her story could have a happy ending. Here's how that might play out. Sarah embeds members of her team into the IT and marketing groups. By working directly with their colleagues, they learn about each team's scope of work, IT's past challenges with integrating new technologies, and what new capabilities marketing needs to cater to new customers. Sarah also begins to manage up. She identifies key senior leaders to meet with regularly and shares up-to-date data about competitors with them. During those talks, she advocates for the resources the IT and marketing teams need, such as training in the use of the new UX tools. Her relationship building pays off. Sarah and her team are able to break down product launch tasks in ways that are better aligned with the marketing and IT team's operating models. Sarah articulates the project's goals in language that resonates with her higher-ups. It will meet evolving customer needs while also addressing IT's and marketing's concerns. Most important, through these efforts, Sarah and her team earn trust and commitment from their colleagues and senior stakeholders. The product's launch is ultimately a success, and Sarah's bridging approach becomes the standard for future innovation projects. Our combined decades of research and practice have shown us what exceptional innovation leaders look like. And we've also seen many leaders who have missed the mark. We've learned that organizations that place bridgers in key innovation leadership positions are more likely to scale new ideas with speed. That's because bridgers perform three critical functions. They curate partners, translate across boundaries, and integrate partners' disparate efforts. But far too few companies have this critical type of leader. In this article, we'll describe each function in detail, identify what skills are needed, and explore how companies can develop and support bridgers. Curating partners, translating among them, and integrating their efforts are not discrete consecutive steps. Rather, bridgers move fluidly between the three activities throughout the innovation process. The relationships that bridgers build through these activities are critical to getting partners to take risks and invest their time. But far too few companies have this critical type of leader. In this article, we'll describe each function in detail, identify what skills are needed, and explore how companies can develop and support bridgers. Curating partners, translating among them, and integrating their efforts are not discrete consecutive steps. Rather, bridgers move fluidly between the three activities throughout the innovation process. The relationships that bridgers build through these activities are critical to getting partners to take risks and invest their time and effort beyond their core responsibilities. Specifically, bridgers are skilled at fostering the following. Mutual trust. Because innovation across boundaries carries risk and can make people feel vulnerable, bridgers create an environment where people are willing and able to tackle the inevitable conflicts and missteps that arise. Mutual influence. In a collaboration, no single party has all the answers. Bridgers build a sense of joint ownership by inviting partners and stakeholders to share in key decisions, continuously balancing the need for participation with the need for expediency. Mutual commitment. Commitment to innovation can wane, especially after setbacks or during conflict. Bridgers maintain engagement and motivation by keeping partners focused on their shared intention and by standing alongside them to fight the fires that emerge along the way. Bridging begins with selecting and attracting the right partners, the stakeholders who will be needed throughout the innovation process. That includes individuals who will provide access to key capabilities, as well as those from whom support or buy-in is needed. Bridgers foster broad and diverse personal networks they can leverage. When they are in exploration mode, they tend to cast a wide net. When a particular initiative is well-defined, they target their outreach. For example, when testing new product ideas, they'll use their personal network to identify who, if anyone, in manufacturing has experience with digital twins or IoT devices, elements of the advanced manufacturing processes required to produce the new solution. Sometimes bridgers know they will need to expand their external networks to achieve a goal, but they aren't yet sure which partners will be required. In those cases, they might issue an open call, such as establishing an accelerator program to surface startups or university research labs whose technology could complement their firms. Bridgers vet potential partners as they build relationships with them, inquiring about their goals and needs to discover points of alignment and friction. But making an accurate assessment and ultimately getting partners to commit to co-creation on a project is possible only when partners trust them enough to share what truly matters to them, including their appetite for risk. Bridgers earn that trust by listening deeply. In conversations, they try to see the world through their partner's eyes and speak their language. For example, if a tech-savvy bridger is seeking the support of a business stakeholder who isn't as technically fluent, the bridger avoids using technical jargon and explains the business case through vivid stories that speak to the stakeholders' priorities. Bridgers assume their partners are well-intentioned. They empathize with stakeholders by explicitly acknowledging the costs and risks a collaboration would carry. Engaging partners in this way is a constant exercise. Not only do bridgers recruit new partners as fresh needs emerge, but they also actively maintain their commitment and engagement throughout the process. Bridgers have to make tough judgment calls, deciding when there's enough trust to take action. Take, for example, the partnerships created by Raja Al Mazrouei at the Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC. Al Mazrouei, who would become the executive vice president of DIFC FinTech Hive, was tasked with launching an accelerator that would bring fintech startups to the region. Her goal was to secure the future of Dubai as a financial hub by ensuring that established financial institutions were world-class. Al Mazrouei and her team identified 3 key groups that would need to work together to achieve this ambition. Local financial institutions, which would effectively sponsor the startups and thereby gain access to innovative solutions. Startups, which would bring promising new technologies and business models to the region. And the DIFC's regulatory bodies, which would build the legal framework necessary to test solutions with customers. Al Mazrouei's team knew that getting those partners to innovate together would be challenging. Implementing innovative solutions always carries a degree of risk, and financial institutions and regulators were understandably risk-averse. Startups had little interest in adapting to the pace of larger, more bureaucratic firms. And the startups and financial institutions were leery of partnering because they saw one another as potential competitors.
This factory in China uses energy from nearby wind and solar plants to generate clean hydrogen, a key fuel energy. As I mentioned out here, that the fuel is 70, next step to about 70 ton by the discount applicable worldwide out here. All die einberechnet details from and the carbon emission 1.5 million tons annually when you finding out to be like the solution of Randy Modi of 2030 reaching 2020 after H2 out to be now second quarter finishing out to be in the beginning of June out to be in the summer of October over the fund of some Trabant of the solar system out to be in the renewable energy or something also like spreading out to be and some possibility of wind energy like a forming out of 4x1 out to be plot tiny thing in the Scottish characteristic after 60s evolution and Norway and other funding of energy innovation out to be and society was seen as shipping out of manual simulating out of beer of simulating substituting a thing out of seeing about the farming out of the carbon payment and simulate and a thing also of the farming of also by the increasation and by the regulation out to be by Bloom Energy getting an undercolored out finding and sending it to MIT and Harvard for the further improvement in the comparison of by the SpaceX out of simulation of simulate out of by on web audit like Iridium out to be a format of forming of simulated by the IBM of black boxing and simulate also by the energy of artificial intelligence and the scaling out to be for the supply chain member of Amazon scenes of Robotnik as from Boss out to be of transitioning out of not forming out of carrying good on similarity of richer of forming of similarity and the scaling of comparison by the air conditioner cost and similarity making on one in South Korea also not out of the hydrogen energy out of be of $7 a ton out of be of plastic conflation or then the thing of the fish farming 5 to 10% out to be a hammer sharking similarity of Robotnik communism on the forming out of solar energy ECC and the forming of investing out to be when it's seen out of spreading out to be by Tesla out of society Panasonic solar glass and similarity not roof plates of classical with some film instead to change that in the cleaning Robotnik and similarity out of classical then in a combination of classical or some lower collusion of tank and fire or glass and forming out of unbreakable possibilities and for the forming out for rate of classical roof plates and similarity of more than finishing out to be I think out of that in energy and ministry out from 35% out get to 25% when you think also of the small and mid-class in India and similarity and the discussion out to be and now the solutioning of liquid natural gas and compressed out of society by the ship and similar to diversity or like I think between New Jersey and New York City of the term like the investment of like Costco as COS and not the targeting of die researching out of Walmart market out to be seen out of when we fin of Pizza Domino and Papa Joe's and similarity out of Domino and the competition of synchronization ECC of Taco Bell and similarity yesterday XXL clustering and similarity out of be when you feel on the kettle batteries and similarity seen that and similarity reading the homepage and similarity and then when there was in 1 year about 500% out of when you think out to be like the former out of coal companies out of that for Fiat with the Stellantis or for the Stellantis out of Chrysler when you think out of the same similarity out to be using now Ruko as some forming out of Foxconn out of before the forming of streaming diversity and funny thing when the forming out of Mongolian humorism out to be the Gobi and similarity out of carrying good 50% and carrying passengers out to be by this innovative of supply chain inspiring also that over the battery filling out of society of this containing similarity out of some effect of 2 and 1 augmented out of keep fueling transitioning out to be and so yet so forming out of society of sex maybe something of full zipporonic about new thing out of the of electricity and getting additional like me holding out of similarity making out of investment of former prints out of installation or inhalation out of class affiliate homoism of inhalation homoism after 6 years losing out of mentors homoism of von Samada was in the thing out of made of steel of similarity and I think out of Chile or Peru out of investment out to be similarity $400 and forming out of some harboring out of northern edge solutioning out to be by the APEC and similarity as a sense of humor out of society and when you think on Mongolian as it's not a form is a one state or two solution to economic out to be as the only thing was the discussion from 30 to now 29 out of boarding is like the United Nations Declaration out to be aus question marks also like been 19 similarity and some technical creativity out to be to 25% and as I saw there's a similarity out of investment out of society that finding a solutioning by the scaling like performing out of society or I doesn't know if I published that maybe normal administration and it's not ought to be and then the thing former I had a solar watch out in the 90s out to be former 5 linguistic translator out of German, English, French, Spanish and Italian and some Langenscheid that was German English with higher vocabulary and English German out to be and Oxford Dictionary and like the Texas and cars was a world economy war, also in form of a horse watch autos, Wissen of Mercedes, die now to be the similarity of aesthetic out of autonomous driving FSD auto be by lead car and similarity by exceeding specificated safety. I don't want quarter century not anymore social action similarities out of practicing of car driving after the accident second some car road starting on similarity after the safetyness of accidents and similarity or there's a question mark of transition or from after and anything I was 40% or 70% out of the 2024 of saving of Nippon steel or Japan steel on the forming of similarities by the hydrogen solutioning and that also had but not only out of Boeing and over the ordering of components and similarity when you see that in similarity of definition out of diversified key knowledge out here by art of B2B business and B2C business of collaboration and the issues had something out from short the long term out to be seen it does not here by some killer task form out of swinging out of the reverse like other changing out or not maybe diversification of season aspect of context also before the short the median like his motor and similarity of das muss man auf der Olympic Game in der Actualities and out of that similarity of the session I think out of who mostly was stuff who mostly was Los Angeles out of me this skip out of Eiffel Tower for the hemp and full for the car out outside the similarity and a form of question marks out of that when that similarity of this factory when we see that question mark of reality because had for the Avanti Hammer Shark system out of sharing like this Fargo and similarity of by Amazon out of be for the supply chain and the scanner out similarity this fishing a supply chain and retailer out to be e-commerce like similarity by the rivers by Alibaba Temo Express and the forming of similarity of Tencent and in the favor of proven out of similarities as a question mark out of society or like RVS investment for out to be was in questionable out of like facility out to be in this form of question mark seen something out of specific by routine or commercial restriction marking out of by the forming out of pop-up unconscious abolition and pleasure people because of the for example the paradigm out another par excellence muss man out be example statuation of humoristic out for the forming out of thing out to be for the solutioning out of some inquisited forming out of missionary characteristic out to be some convincing argument question mark out of society when you can out of artificial when you think out of for 250 million of American and air companies and the investment of artificial intelligence in the European 450 million companies and the succeeding curve also of the stock market and ECC, it's a similarity of second effect without a striking of biotechnology of Crown Bloom Age, some cosmetic of China and similarity also Harvard and MIT only by the diversification like in Adidas of the murder like this Wushi out of question marking out to be succeeding keys when you think out and seen out of cooperation out of by Xpeng and similarity. I think also Tesla out had also a briefable solution and when the dog on the children and similarity and also out of Ding talk and diversity of other and also in similarities out of be or using like by Ford the for few breed out of the solutioning out of be by Catland similarity of wireless charging in 100 years out of be of Edison out of be that question marks of aliens and Edison and similarity it's for the turn of investment of the succeeding keys and my expectation out of paradigm of that a full similarity of solution 2 and 1 Wow, the question mark the digital asset about the economy out of the bunker out of Mark Levine or similarity out of your New York Times what was wrong out of being a question mark of skyscraper and similarity out of Reliance and Geo out of East and West out of Arizona and Indian partition state of style and contracting out of diversification by the synodization cost and similarity by the second effect and third out to be like giving out to be for 3 years marketing out to be in competition or by 3 million customers or majority of Edison is also in the farming out of NGO predicted out of savings of gold banding and the molecular setting of iridium of the China's out of society. Seltsam. Ah, hier was.